the cloud. So when Mike forgets to hit the record button, you missed the first few minutes. So if you need more on this and you're watching this video, catch me sometime. Catch me outside. Okay, so what I did here again, as I started on this, I had the house up that I'm looking at. I hit search comparables.
Gotcha.
And just by doing that, since this is a new construction with similar homes, it brought up 40.
Goodness.
Okay, that's not normal, but again, we're using this to show the printout I'm gonna make.
How do you get to that part right there?
Okay, usually it looks like this for a lot of people. Is that what you mean? It automatically did that for me.
Detail sheets.
Let me do it again just to make sure. Maybe I'm clicking something I'm not realizing. Search comparables. Aha, it took me to map view, and then from map view, I just went to list.
Type in 701.
That's what I skipped. And again, I don't like the pictures there. Right now, I'm nothing but numbers. So I'm gonna sort it by square footage.
Yep.
And look, I have some that are exactly the same size as my house. There's my house I'm gonna do. So I went 1, 2, 3,
Scroll down.
4, 5, 6. And again, all this is Mike's opinion. I like 6 houses, and I'll show you why here in a little bit. You don't have to have 6. Appraisers have to bracket. They have to find so many that are selling below it and above it. We're trying to get as close as we can to what an appraiser is gonna be looking for. So I chose 6 houses that are all very comparable. They all have the same number of bedrooms, the same number of baths, the same number of garage. They're all the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here's where, and again, this is the easy sample. Am I still on?
You're still here.
Okay, I have something that says my session signed out. Cool,
Just hit okay.
okay. Everybody still here? Yay, okay. All right, now I've selected 6. I'm gonna hit CMA. It asks me, what do I wanna do? I'm using the selected ones. There's a choice of a full CMA, a quick CMA, a statistical CMA. This is something I'm getting ready to take to a person's house. What you got?
What you got?
See, why did you do that?
Well, I don't know what you're doing.
I'm sitting here espousing wisdom.
No more buttons.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Okay, I'm doing full CMA. This line right here doesn't mean squat, so ignore it. It's gonna have you choose different things, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to create my CMA. And you see CMA type, we already chose that. Cover page, subject, comps, adjustments, summary, recommendation, finish. Again, we're doing a very simple one to show you how the process works when you got a bunch of the same. Who are we doing this for? Joe and Susie Seller. I put their names here. It's this date. I am using profile card 2. You'll see what that is in a second. Or I could use my normal card. But these are things I've gone into the settings and set up ahead of time. In fact, I'm gonna go to this one. So my cover page is gonna show this. Any comments I wanna put in here? I used to put this in all the time. Let me find it. Try not to click wrong buttons. I used to put this cover my butt statement right here. All adjustments based on general trends of the subject properties marketplace. However, this document does not take the place of an appraisal. Condition and quality of upgrades, fixtures, and improvements can affect final value. Recommendations are based on current market conditions and things change over time. This was my personal cover my butt that I wrote. An attorney did not. I don't know if it's legal, but this is what I did. How did I do it so fast? I have a Word document with all my forms. I just cut and paste over to it. Okay, next. What's my subject property? I don't want to put all that stuff in. So up here, I've still got that original house. I'm grabbing the MLS number, control copy, and I'm going to auto-populate my fields. Watch this. Bam, there's everything on the house. I didn't have to type anything in. And again, yours may look different here. I put things in that I know I have to adjust for an appraiser. Bedrooms, baths, baths half, baths total, total garage carport stalls, attached garage. Watch this one, total finished square footage, all levels, above grade finished square footage, below grade finished square footage, below grade unfinished square footage, total square footage. Did you know on an appraisal, areas in a basement are less value than on first
Right.
floor or second floor?
Mhm.
Even if you're in a luxury walkout basement in Rivercut or Highland Springs, the government sees basement property as less value.
Tell them why.
I have no idea. Oh, because there's less roof.
That's right.
But I'm like, isn't there
Less
concrete?
roof?
Yeah,
Well,
so,
they
so
don't
no
have to
concrete
put a
structure
roof
would.
over that
change
square footage.
Yeah.
That's what an appraiser told me.
Mhm. So that's the answer from the government. The government doesn't notice that the concrete around the basement costs money.
Is there a percentage on that?
There's what I use. It's not legal, but we'll use it here in a second. Okay, so these are all things I put in because this is how I'm gonna compare things. Approximately year built, construction materials. Used to be a lot of things were all brick versus different things. High school, subdivision, basement type, all these things. So now all this is filled out on my subject. I'm gonna hit my next line. Here are all my comps, those 7 or those 6 houses we chose. Next comes adjustments. Now, here's where you can get yourself in trouble, or you can be very aggressive and say, hey, I know my market well. Except the screen just went away. What did it do?
Bum, bum, bum.
All right, back we go. CMA, you selected. Full, next. For Joe and Susie Seller. Don't know why it changed all that, it kicked me out, but it's okay. Auto populate from this. Here's my listings. Where's the screen going?
Mine did the same thing, might just give it a minute.
Like it's thinking?
Yes, sir.
Ah, I don't have patience. Okay, thank you, sir. That helped tons. Okay, so here's my subject. Here's the other houses. You can go in on each category and adjust things about it. Now, this first one we're using, there's nothing to adjust. They're all 4 bedrooms. They're all 2 full baths. They're all 0 halves. They're all 2 baths total. They're all 3-car garage. They're all attached. Oh, look, well, these are all the same square footage. The only thing that's gonna be different on this, because I chose exact things, is a couple of the lots are gonna be different size, but we don't care about that right now. Okay, going to my next page, the summary.
Move the grass.
This is just a stat page I don't need to worry about right now. And I need everybody to get a calculator because we're gonna do some math. Okay, do this math for me real quick. 335,000 plus, we're gonna add 6 numbers, 334,000 plus 340,000 plus 340,000 plus 336,750 plus 336,750, and whatever that is divided by 6, and tell me what you get.
337,083.
Yeah, so that is all this thing is doing. It's just taking whatever you stick in it, adding them up, and divided by the number. So is that accurate?
No.
Not really. I don't like using the high-low thing either, so I always change this to 2.5%, sometimes 3. And when I recalculate, it's still gonna give me the average, but all this is done at this point is taking the averages of the houses we've sold and mixed them. Which on houses like this where they're so identical, that's actually fine. So what we can do then, and again, this is the simple sample to show you what it's gonna spit out for us. Here's everything it's gonna do for my actual CMA report. My cover page, map, all these things here. I like the Navy. The color Navy, I don't care about Navy, Air Force, either way. I do not need the individual summaries. And then I'm gonna show you what this looks like. It's gonna take a second to hit this, then jump to another screen. So the Flex CMA, come on, Come on. Here's the way the report looks. I'm gonna change one thing, sorry. Go back to here. I want my business card. Okay. So it will take all the data we just put together and it spits this out that you can take and show to a client. So when they ask, what are you looking at? You're not just saying, well, I ran a spreadsheet, here's the numbers. This is what it's gonna look like. So it's got my cover picture house. It's got all this logo or the info and the logo that I put in ahead of time. So you can put all these into your Flex profile. It shows where they are. Again, with an appraiser, they're supposed to try and stay in the same neighborhood. If they can't do that, they've got to try and find similar homes and they can adjust one or more things. They can adjust distance out. They can adjust size. They can adjust days sold. But their goal is to try and stay as close as possible what they can. And that's why I use this one as a sample. This is the easiest, simplest one on earth. So if this person bought the house here in a few days, gets ready to sell it, this is what you'd be showing them. Okay, here's all the data on my house. This is the previous marketing remarks. So I always make sure and point that out to them. And then it shows me just like an appraisal, if you've ever looked at an appraisal. And the reason I like 6 houses, I like 3 on each page. I just like it to be full instead of like 5. So it's just a visual thing to me. But you can see, these are all exact. You see this column though is empty because we did no adjustments. And then I don't really walk through a lot of this stuff with them, but I get to the bottom and I say, by analyzing these 6 houses that are most similar to yours, and here you see there's very little adjustment on any of these colors. You're gonna see when we change them in a moment, like especially this. We didn't change a thing. It's gonna push out this page here, which says, my recommended price is $337, anywhere from the range of $326 to $345. They mainly want to know that you came up with this number by using some kind of system or some kind of math. Okay, so remember those numbers, because now we're gonna have some fun and play with it. Okay? But this prints out like a great looking report. So when you go to talk to somebody, you have this with your branding on it, and you can send it to them, or more importantly, talk to them in person and say, this is why I think the price is where it should be. Between this and the fact that overpriced houses sit, this is, if you want to sell it in the first 30 days, here's where we should be. If you want to test the market and then become stale, we could try the higher range there. Okay, but now let's have some fun. Let's go back to our create page. Adjustments. Let me get rid of the ones we had. I don't know why adjustments is taking so long to load today.
It's just the internet.
Okay. So what was our sales price last time? It said 3.
336.
Okay.
9, what was it?
Somebody will remember.
337.
Okay, so the only thing we had really different here was lot size. So, okay, this is, I proceed with caution from here on, okay? We're gonna do extreme examples to show you what happens with this. Let's say that here, this land is very expensive, and since this is 0.01 acres more, our house is, let's see, we're the 0.19 also. So let's say that because this one is larger, our house is worth 30,000 less. It's not, but we're just doing that. The number you put here is if yours is worth less, you put a negative. If yours is worth more, you put a positive. Okay, this is 0.21, so ours is 60,000 less than that. Not 600,000. Same thing here, mine is 600,000. Okay, and approximately a year built. Oh, look, ours is a little bit older, so since this one's newer, ours is worth 15,000 less. Again, these are extremes. All of these are.
How would you come up with those numbers?
I'm just using funny numbers for now,
Oh, okay.
just to show you what the system does.
Mhm.
Okay, construction materials. See, this used to be a thing that would get put in. I don't know that it does all the time anymore. But now that we've made some adjustments, let's see what happened to our recommendation. Nothing, right? Because I got to hit recalculate. So it was telling us our recommended price was 337. Now that we know how much more valuable that other land is, let's see what it does. It now says we're at 302. So by doing adjustments, it can throw things on here. Now, we're not gonna do adjustments on a simple house like this. But the other example we're gonna use in a second has a pool and some don't. Or there's acreage versus things. So now your report would show, well, because yours is smaller, or a lot of times I will honestly do this too. I will go to adjustments. We'll wait a moment. It's thinking lots, apparently. Okay, this one called marketing remarks. What I do here, and this sounds silly, I will go to this house and I'll look at the pictures, because I've already walked through the house I'm getting ready to list. I've taken notes, I know all of it. And I just look at the pictures on this one and I go, compared to mine, what do I think of this one? And if it's dirty and full of stuff and the dogs have chewed through the doors, then I come back to this and say, well, that house sucked. Mine's worth 25,000 more than that. Again, this is all opinion. There is nothing, so we're being very subjective here if the recording's going on. But this is something I use if the houses are wide range. Again, on 6 brand new same houses, you're not gonna have this kind of stuff. But whatever adjustments we put in, this one's worth 100,000. We're worth 100,000 more than this one. Is that $1 million?
$1 million.
Because we went from polished nickel to a different type of fixture. So it's worth 100,000 more, 50,000 more. And again, when we get to the recommendation. And again, we're just using these for extreme to show you what it actually does. So now it's saying we're at 331,000 because it still deducted our land values and added our other values. So it's basically just giving you a range so you can say, this is why I think it's worth this or that. And a lot of it's opinion. And I go back and forth on that because when Flex came and taught this, when they first went to Flex, they said, if you're not an appraiser, you shouldn't be doing adjustments. But the other side of me says, I'm a realtor that goes into houses all day long, and I know that certain things are gonna sell for more. And again, I put my disclaimer at the beginning saying, this is my opinion. And I've gotten more aggressive over time. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. So, and sometimes I've been wrong. I said, whoops, now it's time for that price reduction, like 6,000 other homes this year so far. But the other thing I always do with this, I always save it. And I save it by name first. To me, it's always about the person first. Seller, Joe and Susie. 701 Crew Street. And I like to do my calendar like this. What's today? 18th. So if I do this now, it's gonna save into my system. And here's why I do that. Because here's all of the different CMAs I've done under the team. Let me switch out of the team tool to my individual. Quit super using, next. And when I go to contract management, no, CMAs. Now look at all of my CMAs. This is back from 2014 or whenever we switched to Flex. But you'll see that some people, it will have 2 different addresses because they've had, like this, some friends of mine, we've been looking for houses for about 12 years now. They love where they're at and they get close and then they won't. So I've run the same CMA several different times for them. So, and again, back then I was putting it by the address first, then I learned, okay, let's do it by the person. But as long as you have a system, you're gonna be fine. Okay, let me jump back to Educators Realty Group. So the system will help you do a CMA and look very professional. What questions before we jump into a harder one?
Real quick, can you, because I was getting logged in, could you just show me how to select those 6 comps again off the front?
Oh, you can do that anywhere. Like,
Okay,
this is all houses currently listed.
okay.
And anytime you just select, you just click the boxes. And you can either change your view right here to the selected ones. See where it says selected versus all results?
Yeah.
And it'll take you straight to them. Or when you start the CMA, it'll ask you, do you want to use all the results, the selected? A lot of you have probably seen this before. Oh, I did it on the whole thing. Go. Did you?
So you could just create a quick search and then from all those results, just select and then CMA, da da
Yep.
da da da.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did pick just the four I'd selected. So this, and on the next one we do, I'm gonna go a little deeper on what I do if it's a brand new one. And this one is an actual listing we might have coming up. So that's, I'm using this as a real-time example coming up in a second.
And can I just say, like, a lot of you were asking, like, how did you get to this page with it's all just the listed data? It's the way he's got his settings. So like, when I'm on that page, it's the thumbnail of the house and then the details that I like to
this.
see. Yep, that's how I do mine.
Yeah.
So if that's, it's just a difference in how he likes to view it.
Yep, and you just bounce back and forth between the two. But yeah, a lot of times I'm the numbers geek. All right, thank you. That all makes sense? Let's jump to a crazy one. And again, I'm going to my address search first. 833. In Beaufort. Okay, the reason I use that address search, it shows me the entire history on this address. Now, just to make sure I'm on the right one, I always sort this by MLS number. So this is the one where we sold it to these people a few years ago, and they might be looking at moving. So here's the house I need to run comps on. This is when they bought it in 2023. And again, if I hit the search comparables, this is not gonna do the same that we just did, because now it's gonna search quarter mile of this house, exact number of bedrooms, exact number of baths, pretty close square footage. Let's see what it gives us. 2 houses. So,
2 houses that are active for sale?
2 that are comps that have sold within the last year. Well, let's see. Under contract date, yeah, 1 year. It's then 5 and 5, 3 and 3, and nothing else. So, what's that?
Sorry, what did you click on before you went to that
So I
map?
was on,
Search comparables.
and you just
Yeah.
hit search comparables.
I don't have that.
Well,
Hit more. If you don't have search comparables on there, go to the right and hit more, and then you'll find search comparables.
and I know a lot of people that like to use RPR, because when you click it, let's see what it shows us. It pulls up the house, says close price. And so, again, I don't know what all it's comparing. It's probably going beds, baths, square footage. Anywhere on here, does it say it's got a pool? So that's kind of an important factor. So, okay, so here is my official way. If somebody calls me and says, hey, I'd like to come look at my house, here's what I do first. They're in Wicklow. So the first thing I'm gonna do, and if you right click on any of these, you'll notice by the end of this, I'm gonna have so many tabs open up here. And I have a whole other screen full of tabs over here too. So we're gonna clear out everything we can, get rid of RPR. So my first thing, I'm gonna right click, I'm searching the neighborhood. I wanna see what sold around them no matter what. So subdivision, again, you may not have that. All the Wicklows. And I know there's some that are $1 million houses now, some that aren't. Let me try this again. See all. Well, let me search by Wicklow? You may not.
Maybe villages.
There's no search bar here.
Oh, not in see all. You have to, it's alphabetical.
Wicklow. Come on. Cooperate, I'm teaching. W. Well, so now let me select all these.
You should be able
Yeah,
to.
there we go. Okay, edit control. Now what's crazy, when we switched over to Flex, it had every subdivision by phase. So there were
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of subdivisions. It would say Villages of Wicklow, Elderberry, phase 1, phase 2, and somebody had to go into all the data and move that together.
Hmm.
Okay, so in the neighborhood right now, pending closed, and I'm under contract is fine. I'm only going back 90 days on sold because the market's changed so much. It's only showing me 15 in there. Just so I can see what the whole neighborhood's doing. I'm gonna sort this by price. So I've got a 365 all the way to a 1.6 million. I will use this for my data later, so I'm gonna do this. As it loads.
So you did active, pending, and closed?
Yep. So it's gonna give me this fund report. It shows me my actives, my pending, and my closed. I'm getting all this together so I can go have a consultation with them later. So we're gonna save this as. Where do I wanna put it? So I'll just put it in down list right now. All Wicklow, 125, 103, 18. Again, I do all my stuff this way just because I feel better when it's all organized in order. I'm just weird geeky guy. Okay, that's for later. Now, where'd my main house go? Here it is. I gotta keep this up. So I need anything within the area of it, 5 beds, 3 baths, my size. Oh, look at this. Above grade square footage, below grade, all those things could come into an appraisal fact. I'll let y'all see this house real quick too. Here's some of the pictures of it. This is from 3 years ago, so it could be a lot different now. But the backyard is gonna be the thing. I gotta search, like an appraiser, I gotta find other houses with a pool. If I can find 3 or 6 of them with a pool, then my job's a lot easier. And it's a pretty good sized yard for Wicklow too.
You're listing this house pretty soon?
Pretty soon, maybe, assuming their job transfer goes through. So we're
Send it
entertaining.
to me as soon as I list.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so now I'm gonna start another search. And I love quick search, so I'm in it almost all the time. I'm gonna use my tools over here. And my address was 833 BEAU FR Nixa. So there's my house. I'm gonna set that pin. And now I'm gonna spread out a ways because I gotta find pools. So I don't know if you've ever used these things over here, but I go from where my spot is, and I pick the circle tool. So we're gonna go out 1.5 miles, because Fremont might help me. There might be some pools in there. We're gonna go we'll go 2 miles. Okay, I have a minimum. What was it, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms? Oh, that's the little house. Okay, 5 bedrooms, and what's my total square foot? That'll be the big thing I need.
4388.
Okay. Minimum, we'll say 3 baths. Total square footage. I would say 3,500 or more. You change this to pending and closed. Actually, all I'm looking for is closed. That's all an appraiser can go by, so it's actually sold. Look at all those until add a field, pool. And you don't want the association includes, that used to be a gripe of mine. People would have they'd put includes pool, but it was because the association had it.
What's the difference between an outdoor pool and a swimming pool?
Great question.
Yeah, it's very astute.
I think that was to incorporate indoor pools, Brady.
Okay, perfect. I forgot you grab private.
I'm just the peanut gallery in case anybody's curious. Always have something to say.
It's ingrown, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd think, but yeah, you never know. Okay, so what's that do? Oh, look, we've got 3. Okay, that's actually, agree with the pool, same size, same range. This could be good. I prefer 6, 3 at least will give me an idea, but look at this. That's what's crazy. 485, 458, 915. So this is probably not gonna help me a whole lot on that. Because I know if they bought it for 650, if I go in and average these 3 and say, well, it says it should be 525, they're gonna be like, next realtor, please. So I gotta do some more digging. Let's see, I might go back a little farther. And again, appraisers don't like to go back far. You know what? I'm gonna change this first. We're gonna go a few less bedrooms. I think the pool is very important, so I'm gonna keep that in. I'm gonna go a little lower on square footage, see if I can bring more in. Just 1. I'm just trying to find enough things that I can choose between. And that's the hard thing when you get to a unique house. Yeah, we're still just showing 4. This one's at least in the same neighborhood, so let's see what we're looking at here. No, it's not, it's across the street. So when you get into situations like this, you gotta start making some strange decisions on it. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of pool. I'm gonna go a lot closer on my square footage, 4,200 to 4,800. Bedrooms, 4 to 6. In other words, this is a puzzle. You're trying to put together something to decide what your house price is. 3 to 5. Okay, so now, right here in the neighborhood, I might have 4 possibilities. Okay, my circle's really big, right? Did you know you can do 2 circles? Or, actually, I like the parallelogram. And you can tell it, I want it to be in the within these. I want it to be in the intersection of them. Or if they say, I don't want to be anywhere near my in-law, not within. So you can set a search and say, I don't want to be near this. Or the fed med. I don't want to be near the prisoners. Okay, great. We want the intersection. So it should bring us back to that. And let's see what these 4 look like. See if this is going to help us do what we need to. So the 4 is choosing for us that says they're similar. How are we doing on time? About 13 minutes left. Okay, again, we're all over the place here. I always pull this up hoping to see a bunch of numbers higher than what they sold it for. But when they've only bought it a year or 2 back, sometimes it's hard. Okay, so let's assume that these are the 4 that are going to work best. Again, I like to have 6, but it's not necessary. It's just because I like the visual view of it. Okay, we're going to jump into CMA. And again, for this, I like to do a lot more depth because I want to make sure I get the right info for them, but we're using the selected, the full CMA. And it's for Joe and Susie again. And I would put my cover your butt wording on there. And again, I'm not going to type all the info in on the house, so I'm just going to cut and paste. And this is where having the skill or the experience to do adjustments is going to come in big. Because Wicklow's got so many different areas. And then when you add a pool into it, and you add, some of them were made when the French country boom was big, and then some have been since then. So there's all kinds of factors we got to look at on here. Okay, so we have more bedrooms than each of these, or than 2 of them. We're gonna use an arbitrary number and say, because we have 1 more bedroom, this house is worth 15,000 more. And again, I am just using random numbers now because I haven't dug in deep. These 2 are the same, so I don't have to do anything there. Baths, they're all the same. Half baths. Oh, this one has 1 more half bath. I'm gonna say we're worth 5,000 less because of a half bath.
So it's all monetary adjustments that you're just trying to put in?
It's all numbers at the moment, and except for my touchy feely on the marketing part. Total, I used the total just for the math of it, but attached garage. How much is a garage space worth? Is that now 20,000? It used to be 10,000, but
Is it a full garage space?
yeah,
Okay.
let's say it's 15,000.
And 10 on the extra 3 car.
So we're gonna say we're worth 15,000 more. Detached garage space, nothing there. Okay, here's where it gets fun. Okay, so upper level. I gotta jump a screen first, so here's where my math gets a little silly. And again, this is not a recommended thing by, I learned from an appraiser or anything else. This is what I've done over time and it's worked pretty well. So on here, where does it say average square foot, average price per square foot? Anybody see it anywhere? Average sold square foot, 140.80. Now, number one, I hate average square foot. To me, or price per square foot. That's like saying an 8-ounce hot dog is worth the same as an 8-ounce filet. The size doesn't matter. Why don't we go by cubic square foot? Shouldn't a bigger house that's taller be worth more value? So it's a thing a lot of people come back to. It's a factor and all these others. All right, so let's get Mike into some trouble here. Above grade square footage, we just saw that the average was $140.80 square feet. So, get my calculator over here where you all can see what I'm doing. I'm getting myself in trouble. We are 2,312 square feet. This one, the first one is 2,480. It is 168 more square feet times $140 a square foot. Means this one is worth $20,000 more than our house. Okay, same thing. And again, this is not recommended or broker approved. This is how I do it. 2312 minus 2104. We're 200 square foot bigger than this one on the main level times 140 square foot. We're worth 29,120 more. See where you get in trouble fast? 2312 minus 2261. We're 51 square feet bigger times 140. We're 71, and notice how it put the positive in for me. I didn't do that. And the final one, 2312 minus 2168, 144 times 140. We're 20,000 square foot, or $20,160 more on our above grade square footage. Below grade finished square footage. We're gonna take the $140, we're multiplying it times 60%. 140 times 0.6. So now on this level, the square footage is at $84 a square foot. I can do easy math here. We are 4 square feet smaller than this one. 4 times, I can't do that much fast math. 4 times 84. We are $336 less on that one.
So is the above grade also a percentage like the below grade
So
would?
the way the government makes the appraiser say it, anything door level or up is all above.
Okay.
So a second floor, according to the government, is worth more than a full finished walkout basement. How many people in our area would prefer a walkout basement to upstairs?
Yeah.
It's just the way the appraisal, I call it the golden rule. Whoever provides the gold makes the rules. So if the loan officer says this is what we gotta do, if the appraisal says this is what we gotta do, it's the government.
So you might know this too. Is it cheaper, because in my world of new construction, is it cheaper to build up or build below?
I would think it's cheaper to build up.
That's what I was thinking,
It is,
because less
but-
foundation,
But remember, we're dealing with the government. So sometimes you just gotta say, it is what it is. So here's the other thing. What's a story and a half? What's the definition of a story and a half?
Split level. Split level.
Not really. Split level means anything below the door is
Right.
basement.
Yeah, it's not a story and a half.
I've heard some people say it's,
It's not the full amount of whatever your base level is. So if you've got like 1,000 square feet below and it doesn't go 1,000 square feet up, that would be a full, if it was 500 square feet up. So there's a big portion that maybe like your living room goes straight to ceiling, straight to roof line.
Okay, now,
Like
when you,
those
when you're talking those measurements, you're talking vertical measurements.
Yes.
Angled walls become a problem.
Exactly.
I've also had people say a story and a half implies that the master's on the main level or the primary is on the main level and all others are upstairs. There's so many different rules to it. I love this. What's the definition of a bedroom? What's it gotta have? Two things.
A door
Closet,
and a closet.
door.
And
A
a
window
window.
and a closet.
Window in a closet or a second egress in a closet. Does it have to be big enough for a bed to fit
Have
in?
they changed
No.
that?
No, I don't think so. But
Not yet.
it doesn't have to be big enough for a bed to fit in as long as it has a window and a closet. That's, so the rules and the logic are two different things. So just,
Just put me in a closet, give me
Yeah.
a window.
exactly.
And does it have to be, well, I guess not.
And once you own the house, the government really doesn't know who sleeps where. Okay, so we would continue doing these adjustments. Unfinished square footage, I divide that in half from that last thing. So if there was, like, this one has, we have 280 unfinished, this has a little bit less. I'm doing all this math because I feel pretty confident in myself. If you don't, be cautious.
So how are we gonna figure that out? Cause that's kind of why I was sticking around for this one, cause that's what was kept holding me up.
That's the
But
hardest thing.
at this point, I'm like, where do I even start finding out that info?
The best thing is, here, we'll show what I do at the very end and that'll help with it. But on this one, I'm gonna also have to add,
Lee's got something too to add to that.
oh, go ahead.
Have we got to the, where we talk about the pool yet? Oh, okay,
Marketing remarks is where I was gonna do that.
okay.
Okay, so under marketing remarks, this is where I'm doing all the touchy feelies and the wows. If we have a pool and nobody else does, if it's $100,000 pool, you might get 30,000 value. You don't get full value. Somebody says, I just spent 10,000 on my kitchen. Great, that'll give you 2,000 or 3,000 of credit. So you might as well do the improvements while you're living there and enjoy it.
Exactly.
So we're gonna say that because of the pool, we're 30,000 higher everywhere. And we're kind of jumping through the end here just to get the whole concept of it. So now when we get to all of our summaries, we put in all these math things. And again, I'm actually gonna go 3%. I kind of like that better usually. And I hit recalculate. This is what it's recommending based on the fast numbers we did, and here's the range. Okay, so then I look at this, I go, I don't know if that's right or not. Here's my double check. I always go back to, I'm gonna start a whole new quick search, open link a new tab. Like I said, I'm gonna have tons of these open. And this is where I say, okay, if I'm a buyer looking between 634,000, 675,000, I know that's not exactly what it was. Oh, too many zeros.
It's a big one. Must be in California.
And I'm in Nixa schools. What else can I buy for my money? So this is my double check I always do. And right now, it's thinking hard. Real hard. Sometimes if you do this and jump back. Okay, if I'm in that price range, I only have two houses to choose from in Nixa right now. One in Golden Meadows, one in Ashford of Wicklow. But let's say I definitely want a pool. Then there's nothing. So the double check, and I'll even run higher. Usually I want like 5 or 6 to choose from. 700 to 600. And this tells me also how much I can test the market. Now there's 8. Let's see if they're on the lower end or the higher. Oh, look at this. I got 3 in the 700 range. And if none of these have pools, I can maybe even go higher than that. So it's all getting as much data as you can and trying to be as comparable And just think, the word comp, just think comparable. How comparable is my house to others that have sold? Because at the bottom, you know what an appraisal actually does? An appraisal tells the bank how much they could sell the house for if you default in the first 90 days. The appraisal is to cover the bank. It doesn't matter to you. Here's why. I sold a house on Del Mar, right down near University. It had a pool, had a separate house. This was way back in the day. Giant luxury house. It was listed at 425. We offered 450 and won a bidding war. It appraised at 475. The minute it closed, how much is that house worth? 450, because what gets put into flex? Sold price. So technically, if that house was worth 475 by the appraisal, they just lost $25,000. So the sold price, and that's the hard thing. You got to help people know it's not about the emotion of what you love. At the bottom of the day for the bank, it's a numbers game. And for the appraisal and for the loan officer, it's all, can we make it make sense on the numbers? And that's where it's so hard for people to, you know, I raised my kids in this house, whatever different things are.
That's emotion.
Yeah. Okay, so after I've done all these different things, here is, if I can get this to slide over, here's my form letter. I said, I would prefer to meet in person with them, but sometimes they say, I can't, can we get there? We've completed our research on your home and the results are attached. The following will explain the different items. The area of sales, that was that first thing I did on the neighborhood. This is a market analysis on the property. It's a statistical look at the homes that have sold in or near the neighborhood. Again, we emphasize it as a statistical look. It's not looking to the account, condition, or home upgrades. There are three main categories: active, pending, and sold. The active are the ones that are currently for sale, pending. You all know this. The sold homes are the ones that appraisal looks at when valuing the property. Another item that's interesting is the days on market. Then I attach the official comparable analysis. We try to, and the yellow reminds me, I gotta edit this each time I do it. We try to make ours similar to an appraiser. On the listing price recommendation of the attachment, you'll see it came out at this with a range of this and this. However, this CMA is based mainly on stats, upgrades, lot quality, and a lot of other features can affect this. So based on the research we've done, we think your home should be at this range. So this is where I give my opinion after all the numbers, based on current market conditions and recent comparables. The lower price if you want to be aggressive, but this is the great news. Before I put this in, we will price it wherever you want. I don't want to lose somebody because they want to test the market. And I'm totally opposite from a lot of teams here that say, don't take an overpriced listing. My philosophy is you can reduce a listing you have. You can't reduce a listing you don't.
Well,
I would rather have the listing, right?
exactly, and you can't increase the price once it's out there.
Yeah,
You can also read about this in Chic Tactics 7.
yes. Amazing the way the whole
Talk
thing.
about that.
Wow.
They did talk about that in taking over
Yeah.
price listings.
Yeah,
The competition.
I learned my lesson on that.
Yeah, so the last thing I attach is those that I did on my double check, my active listings. I tell them, here's what we're competing against. If somebody is real sticky, I've actually walked them through homes and said, how do you feel about this one compared to yours? Okay,
So you send them the double check ones rather
Uh-huh.
than the.
I send them that as, I send like 4 attachments when I send this thing. But the thing I send them there, like I said, all this, I go to share, selected, permalink. And I just copy and paste that, and that way they can see the pictures. They can only see pictures of actives. The public can't see closed and pending unless you send like a PDF. So back to my little email. And finally, an estimated seller's proceeds. I have this form I do on every house. Let me find, and I do it based on the recommended CMA. I think I have it open here somewhere too. Like I said, lots of tabs by the time we get to the end of this. Yeah, so here's my estimated seller's proceeds sheet. I did it in Excel. And this is one I can send to you all if you want it. It tells you what to do. Fill this line out, fill this line out, fill this line out. It will figure some of the math. And then when you print it, it looks like an old government form we used to have. So it looks like this. You get rid of these pages, but it will show them how much is expected based on your compensation, not your commission, realtor percentage, base fees, let's say if you have a transaction fee, attorney fees. So this way, when you go to talk to them, you're not only telling them, here's what I think it should sell for, here's how much you should net. The entire package That way you're just not saying, hey, if you want it, let's do it. You're saying, here's all the info you need to make a wise decision. So that's kind of cramming the last part of it in here. But if you all want this letter here, I can send that to you too. Again, take anything I've got and make it your own wording. And it's always better to meet in person. Because some people will look at this and go, well, that says X number. I don't want that number. So anytime you can sit across from somebody is much better. But if somebody says, well, I live in California and I can't get to the house, that's why I have this set up too. All right, other questions?
Have you ever had a client that asked, well, depending on the finishes of my home, and because I know there's a part in there that says this does not count finishes and external
Yeah.
factors. Have you ever had a client to go, well, I've got this, this, and this, how does that affect it? Do you have another system that you present that with, or do you do that once you go to their home and then you talk about, well, this might be worth this to them, this might be worth that?
So a lot of it,
Sorry.
nicer finishes help it sell faster.
Yeah.
It may not help the value. Like some people say, well, I got a new furnace. Well, the house has to have a furnace.
Yeah.
So a nicer furnace helps it sell. Like, for example, right now I'm looking at 5-bedroom houses 2 miles from Disney. And the ones that are all painted with all the themes, like this whole bedroom is Cars Land and this one is that, that there's no value except for the cost of paint. But to me, it helps it rent more.
Yeah.
So it will help it sell faster, but it may not get the same dollar amount.
Okay.
So a lot of it's just that, making people realize, okay, it's both sides of that.
Okay.
Marketability and not value.
Right. Oh, that's a great way to say it.
Well, I had to do that with my parents. They have a lot of land. They have a lot of external buildings. They have a creek running through their property. They thought it was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars more than what it actually was when we brought them comps, because
Yeah.
I was curious
Parents are hard.
to have that conversation with them.
In-laws are harder.
Amen.
Doing that right now. Holy cow.
So that's a quick way of how I do it. There's, again, a lot of this is not official, and if the broker's listening, I didn't say a word. But it helps me to have a conversation with people. I just wanted to, thanks, Lee. By the way, so glad we recognize you for your 20 years. I think you were on Zoom the other day.
Yeah, I was on Zoom.
Yeah.
I've been not well lately,
Yeah.
but anyway, we're back now,
Well,
almost full
be
strength.
healthy for the first Tuesday of April, because that's when we do the 20-year pin.
I will be here.
All right, we'll see you.
Thank you.
But this, I hope this helps just from the systems we already have to put something together so you look so official. And what I would do, I'd get a binder or a little folder from the front. I think they're what, $1 maybe? Put it all together, and I'm big on leaving stuff with it. Because if you do all digital or do it all on a tablet, the minute you leave the house, it's gone. So have something you can leave with people. That way they, number one, they have your phone number, but out of sight, out of mind. And I know it's a digital world, but the more we can have something there, it helps sometimes.
Another thing, so what I do, I just bring my computer with me when I know the clients are gonna be difficult and everybody thinks their house is nicer than everybody else's. And I'll sit there and do a CMA with them, make them choose the houses,
Yeah. Oh, that's
This one
great.
this, and this one is this, and then it helps you a lot to price the house
Yeah,
that way.
sure.
Shandy, anything on chat? Anybody say anything?
Yeah, I already emailed you, actually, it's people wanting the net sheet.
Okay, if you want the net sheet or anything else, just email me, mikebrown417@kw.com. It might be a day or two because I'm running crazy right now, but I'll get all this to you. Just like on that sheet we just had. It's an Excel sheet. Take off my little logo, put yours there, put your name in here, and suddenly voila, it's yours. So,
After you make a copy.
yeah.
Brown 417.
At kw.com. All right, hope that,
Thank you.
Like the prices for, let's say, the bedroom, or how can we calculate that?
it's a guess, or it's just looking back at, like, if you could find 2 houses that are identical that sold, and one was a 4 and one was a 3, and it sold for $7,000 difference,
50 years ago now.
you would say that's where I came up with the number.
Question,
Because
it was like
there's not like a
27
sheet
store
that
or
you
something
can
like that.
see,
Okay.
No,
or
because it's different from like a third car garage in Wicklow is worth a whole lot more than a third car garage in Bluebird Hills or whatever's across, not Bluebird Hills anymore. There was a neighborhood across from Wicklow that went foreclosure, they came out of something else, but, so even from neighborhood to neighborhood, it changes. Because different quality of builds, So it's just, it's a guessing game, but it's also a experience game. Just saying, hey, here's what I've seen from all the times I've been through.
Which if anybody wants to learn about quality new builds, I'd love to spend 10 minutes with you in the next 2 weeks. So reach out to me.
We are gonna try and do we're gonna try and do a sales meeting on new construction.
Okay.
So I haven't gotten everybody yet, but Drew's as ALC hit on that. We'll get with everybody, but
Okay.
he doesn't know that yet either.
Let me go last, that way I can bring the boom.
Okay.
That way I can fill in on what I need to really hone in on, you know?
All right, we're gonna stop the Zoom. Any other questions anywhere? Everybody have a great day. I hope this was helpful.
Was, thank you.
Fabulous.
Torian, we can meet in a room upstairs or down here, whatever you want. And then I've got you right after Torian. Torian, hurry up.
I thought I did.
I'll be quick.
There's a lot of places in town that do it. Like,
Don't fight over me. I mean, my gosh.
The whole time. I did this.
I'll have to find it.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Ready to throw your lap?
Yes.
Sorry. I'll look for that offer in the next hour or so.